When you started creating content, did you see it as something you can do full time?
I was using the money that I had to buy the products and outfits I needed to get the brand's attention. I was going full force.
You hear people say, well, just post the content. Is that really the key to post? Like you mentioned consistently, but like, what if I don't like the post I'm posting?
There's a difference between consistency and frequency. I really have a soft spot in my heart for mothers because I know oftentimes we're overlooked. Oftentimes people don't get it until they're in that season. If God tells me to do something, if I feel like He's telling me to do something, I'm just going to do it.
What common mistakes do you see moms making when they start in the creator space?
A common mistake that I see moms making when they start in the creator space is
So we're about to get into the content and this is really gonna be good. But before we do, I have one favor to ask and one favor only. Please like this podcast. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please share with your social media audience, with your family, with your people. Share, share, share. Thank you, and I really appreciate it. Today's verse of the day is Psalm 20, verse 7. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Busy Moms Get It Done podcast. I'm so excited for this week's guest. Lisa Richards is a speaker, content creator, and strategist. Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us on the podcast.
thank you so much for having me, Esther. I'm super excited to finally be here.
I'm super excited to have you. So, to kick off, I want to know who Lisa Richards was as a child. Like, if you look back, what was it like growing up? Was motherhood always in the cards for you, or were you like, not interested in that?
Honestly, Lisa Richards has always been someone that has spent time in the presence of the Lord. And I think that's important to say because that has been my foundation. My name, Lisa, actually means God is my oath. And truly, throughout my whole life, He has been my number one. And growing up, I was often in the church, and that's where I would see like everything that I know about today. That's where I would learn about service. That's where I would see bits of entrepreneurship. That's where I saw my parents gain community when they moved to this country from Jamaica. It is at the church where I even started doing new things like singing, dancing, even things like spelling bees and songwriting competitions. So, really, going to church as a child was something that was big for me. It helped shape my love for entrepreneurship, my love for God, my love for the arts, amongst many different things. And even as a child, I was very helpful to the mothers in my church. And I didn't realize then what I was doing, that I was kind of like planting seeds and getting, it was kind of like my unpaid internship because I was always helping moms that like just had their hands full or so that they could focus on listening to the sermon. And I think that, as well as being an older sister, helped me as a mom. And I have always wanted to be a mom.
Same here. I've always wanted to be a mom too. So you were a licensed social worker. How did you become interested in social worker? Was it just through what you just described of like helping other moms and being in the church? And what was it like for you when you were in the field? And then how did you make your move from social work to content creation? I know I just threw a lot there. Have to.
Well, it's funny because I actually was in school for law. I wanted to be a lawyer. And then the classes were just so boring. I was like, I don't think I can do this. Like, I grew up hearing people say, "Oh my gosh, you talk a lot. You know how to argue. You should be a lawyer." So I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm going to be a lawyer." Fast forward to being in school, I was like, "Okay, I'm not going to law school. What can I do with this degree?" And then I found social work, and it was a way to help people and advocate for people while still having a sense of enjoyment. And so after studying that, I started working in 2019, and my social work career was very short, only 7 months or 6 months. And then the pandemic started. And so I had stopped working. I was working in Brooklyn, New York, and I was working with a 0 to 5 population, so little kids, and they were just not in the best environment, not at the best living conditions. And it was very hard to see children in that position and then to be bound by the laws and the rules so that you couldn't even help them in the way that they needed to be helped. And so I left that job. And at that same time, the Lord told me to start a blog. And so simultaneously, I think it was the 17th of January that I left the job. The 25th of January, I launched the blog, and it's just been entrepreneurship from that point on.
That's amazing. I think that's amazing of like, seeing going from like this is what I think I want to do to like this is what, helping others to like listening to God's voice and be like, let me do this, right?
Mhm.
Um, when you started creating content, did you see it as something you can do full time? Obviously, you said that God told you to like start the blog.
Mhm.
Did you always think, okay, I'm gonna keep going through it, or were you like, well, I don't know how this is gonna go? And how did your goal with creating content change when you had each of your daughters?
So, when I first started creating content, I had goals to get paid for it, but I never thought like maybe I can make a full-time income. I thought maybe I need to have another job on the side and then do this for fun. And as time went on, I realized like, no, this is what God wants me to do. And so I think the other question was, what was the other question?
Was how did it align? How did it change, or how did you have to change it as you had each of your daughters? But I
Okay.
do have to ask you for you to answer that question of like, did you just go in full time? And like, how was that making that like fate move of like God told me to start something? uh, Like, how did you make that, move?
So I actually think that I have the gift of faith because if God tells me to do something, if I feel like he's telling me to do something, I'm just going to do it. And I'm his daughter, so he has to figure it out. So when it was time
Love that.
for me, when it was time for me to jump into content creation, I went full force. I was booking photo shoots. I was using the money that I had to buy the products and outfits I needed to get the brand's attention. I was going full force, and my husband was helping me as well. And we had a system going where this day would be for shooting content, this day would be for writing, this day for posting, and it just having that system and that flow, it allowed my brand to grow even in the same year that I started, and I started getting paid campaigns as well. When it came to becoming a mom, my first pregnancy, I was already in the routine of like posting and doing campaigns. I shared my pregnancy very early on, and throughout the pregnancy, I was able to also work with brands. And even as after I had my first child, I continued to work with brands that were around motherhood and child and raising a child, like brands like Love Every. I don't know if you've heard of them. They have their like play kits and things
I love it. I love Every. Yeah.
that. And then when it came to my second pregnancy, I actually that during that time, I actually took a break from social media. So even right now, I'm still finding myself like coming back. I still feel like I'm coming back because I was offline for maybe about a year. And so I still feel like I'm now re-entering. So
I love what you had to say. First of all, about the fact that like, your gift is fate. And so like when God tells you something, you just push it out there. And how do you suggest to like, moms who are like, well, I feel this urge to do something, maybe either it's like content creation or maybe it's just something else and I feel like it's God leading me, but I'm so scared, so scared. Like, where does that fate come from? And if they don't have that fate, how do they cultivate it?
that's real. I think the faith comes from just knowing who your father is, like knowing who your maker is, that if he put something inside of you, he is able to help you sustain it. He is able to help you to fulfill it. Like he is able to help you to get it done. And if someone is wanting to try something new, but you find yourself being scared, I think that that is when I think that that is when it's important to look at the story of other people. For me, my inspiration, oftentimes it comes from the Bible. I think it's Hebrews chapter 11 that talks about the different things that people receive because of their faith. So that's something that I would hold on to on my own journey.
So you started content creation. You shared the story. I mean, you shared your content of your first daughter, and then you kind of took a break, right? And you have this like personal page, but you also have the Moms Meet Here.
Mhm.
When did you create Moms Meet Here, and then how did it come about? What are you hoping to accomplish with that page?
So, Moms Meet Here is a budding motherhood community. It's like one big group chat where we share tips, we share joy, we share how we're making it on this journey called motherhood. And that is really it's one of my babies. I'm just building a space for moms to connect and to feel seen and to feel heard. I really have a soft spot in my heart for mothers because I know oftentimes we are overlooked. Oftentimes people don't get it until they're in that season. So I just wanted to create a place where we can be ourselves, where we can ask our questions, where we can get advice. And I recently had so we started, I think I started the page in October, if I'm not mistaken. And then in May, we had our first event. Well, it was actually the end of April. We had our first event that was called A Mother's Tea, which was a tea party, and it was such a great event. And so I'm just hoping to continue to connect the moms, to continue to bring them together, have those conversations, and just create the space that is needed for moms and for our little ones too.
Would you say that that's one thing that you feel is missing with moms is that sense of community? Because you mentioned like moms being overlooked. Is what do you why do you think moms are overlooked, and what do you think is the solution for it?
I think that sometimes for new moms, let's say there's a friend group and you're the first, there's four friends and you're the first one to have a baby. Now, maybe you can't do, you guys can't have, now the relationship has essentially changed because now it's like, oh my gosh, like she has a little baby. Can she still come to brunch? Can she still go out to dinner? The baby has to go to sleep at a certain time and maybe she doesn't even want to go out. So let's not even ask her. Meanwhile, maybe I would have gotten a babysitter so that I can come out, you know? But sometimes I find that it's one of those things where for most people, they don't understand until they get into that position. So I think that the solution for moms being overlooked is just to have spaces where moms can just be moms, where moms can be moms and also open up other conversations for moms to share their truth even when other moms might not be in the room.
I want to pivot back to like your content creation right now. So you offer help for content creators that are looking to grow or start their page. What type of creators do you work with, and what would your advice be to a mom looking to grow or start her social media and make it something she can do full time? You kind of take the full force approach where you're like, this is what God told me to do by fire, by force, by thunder. It's going to happen. What about those moms who perhaps don't have that, that boldness?
For the moms that don't have that boldness, that is why they come to me because I am all for supporting you, pushing you, and helping you get there. Right now, I have one client that is about to turn 50, a few months from turning 50. And when we first met in February, she was literally crying on the call and just talking about how she wants to do content creation, but she's not confident and her life isn't perfect and all these things. Fast forward to July, after I think we had maybe 3 calls. After 3 calls, she consistently posted on TikTok for the whole month of July. Not only did her page grow, she also started a new business. And that business content creation is a big part of that. So everything has just been working together for her good by the grace of God. And um the service that benefited her the most was my main service, which is my plan it out. And that is when I sit down with people and I plan out their content, whether it be for the week, for the month, whatever it may be. I also work with new moms. I also work with people who want to share um, share their personal stories. But yeah, I also had a business reach out to a homeschooling business reach out. So I work with a bunch of different people. I also love working with brands. So
That's good. What common mistakes do you see moms making when they start in the creator space?
a common mistake that I see moms making when they start in the creator space is probably doing something that they can't maintain. For example, um, I often tell people, okay, if you don't want to show your child's face on social media, don't start off that way. Like if you can't keep it up, just don't start off that way because then people get invested. They feel like they have the right to see your child's face. So then when you don't start, when you stop showing it, then they get upset, they get offended, da, da, da. So just start off with in a way that you can maintain. If you start off sharing meals, you share meals, what you eat in a day or what your child eats in a day. Maintain it because people will come to you just for the meals. So if for 3 months you've been sharing meals, then all of a sudden you stop and there's no more meals, now you're doing something else, you might lose a whole audience. So just start.
That's a that that's really good key. I think there was like that whole, but I feel like there's that people have shifted, especially when you talk about like showing your child's face and then no longer showing your child's face. I think there has been a shift due to controversies of like you shouldn't be
Yeah.
exploited on all of that, right? So there could be a shift in that.
Mhm.
So there are so many advice on growing on social media and for moms out there that want to go, what is the one thing that you would advise them to focus on?
One thing, well, it's two things. Authenticity and
Mm.
consistency. There is no story like yours. So be your authentic self, your true self, your real self, because someone is waiting for you to share things in the way that you share. And there are people that will resonate with it. And my next thing is consistency. No more starting and stopping. No more saying you're going to do it and then fall off. Keep at it because that is how you grow. 2020 was when I started content creation. It's when I started my blog. And literally, the way that I grew was by maintaining consistency. This is what the platforms like, but this is also what people like too. Because if I know that every week on Wednesday, you're going to share a meal idea with me, then every Wednesday, I don't have to guess, I don't have to Google, I can come to where you are and I can get that meal idea. So just be consistent and be authentic.
I think one of the things that I'm learning as I'm going to podcast is that it's more than just posting, right? You hear people say, well, just post the content. Is that really the key to post? Like you mentioned consistently, but like, what if I don't like the post I'm posting? What if like I feel like self-aware? How do people handle that?
One thing I'll mention is that there's a difference between consistency and frequency. So if I talked about this in my content creation course, but if maybe consistency for you looks like once a week, rather than frequency, which will just look like posting every day. Maybe consistency looks like for a month, you post once a week. So that one post that you're proud of every week, that's what you share, and you've done it. You're consistent.
You have like something in your creative tea called Creative Content Bank.
Mhm.
What is a content bank and how does one build it?
So, Content Bank is essentially a resource that you create that holds ideas that are unique to you that you can share about, that are relevant to your audience, relevant to your life, and just something that you have in your back pocket. So, when you want to create but you don't know what to do, you can pull from that. For
Nice.
example, if I was a food blogger, I would have a content bank. Right now, it's summer, about to be fall. Maybe I would have a content bank about fall recipes, apple pie, maybe a few about summer since we have a few weeks left. And when I feel like when I have the time, when my kids are down and I can create, I'll just pull an idea from that and run with it.
Pivoting now because you are also an author. You have a new book called Not How Encountering the God of Restoration.
How did this book come about? And then can you also discuss your other books, Prayer to Carry You Through Pregnancy and Seven Powerful Prayer Tools?
Yes, thank you. Um, it was during 2020, things were I had just gotten engaged and I was figuring out things for the wedding. The pandemic is also going on. And like I said, I believe I have the gift of faith. So I was just in a season of I'm trusting God to give us a beautiful wedding. And he said that we can get married. So we're going to get married and it's going to be amazing. And literally, things just started to come together. The money started to come together, the rules started to bend a little bit, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, God, they're going to be wondering, how did this happen? How did she get this? How did this come about in a whole pandemic?" And then I was like, "Lord, am I going to write a book called Not How, Who?" And that was in 2020. And from 2020 to 2024, the Lord has literally written the book. And by giving me testimonies, life experiences, and just different examples of him showing up in my life. And so that is how that book came about. It was 4 years in the making, but by the grace of God, last year, last August, it was published and it is out now. My first piece that I ever written was actually Seven Powerful Prayers, which is an ebook, a very short, cut to the chase ebook about prayer. There's prayer topics, there's prayers, there are scriptures, over 20 scriptures in there to pray with each prayer. And then prayers to carry you through pregnancy was a project that was very dear to my heart because technically my second pregnancy, it ended with a loss at 25 weeks. And so after that had happened, I was in a place where all I had was all I could do was trust in God and was asking for help and was to just rely on him, and all I had was his word. And so throughout my third pregnancy, that is when I started to just dig into the word in a deeper way, in a different way. And when I literally needed the prayers to carry me through pregnancy. And so it was really a passion project and a Holy Spirit filled project. And that is also out now. It's prayers, scriptures, all for pregnant women.
Why would you say, you mentioned it before, about like the importance of your faith, right? How has that carried you through like content creation? I wonder because have you had to like say no to some things when because of your faith, and how did you handle those instances?
Oh, yeah, I definitely have to turn down brand deals because they just don't align. I think it's one thing if maybe I like using stainless steel bottles, but a plastic bottle brand reaches out to me. Okay, maybe I can do it. But I'm not even gonna name them, but like there are so many that I've had to turn down because it's just like a big no. Like whether it's like alcohol or THC products or just things that are just not aligned with my morals. I've had to turn it down. And to me, I don't see it as a loss because at the end of the day, that's just not what I'm about. And it would be, to me, it would kind of be foolish to accept a collaboration that would then like take away the credibility of my testimonies and my life story. So, yeah.
Yeah, do you find that some people struggle with that, their values, especially those you're helping, and how do you help them? Is that part of it, like teaching them how to align their values with the path that they're going in content creation?
So I haven't encountered yet anyone that struggles with their values or anything like that when it comes to content creation, but I have encountered someone who just knew like what was for I'm sorry, someone who just knew what was for them and what was not a good fit for them, and they stuck to what worked for them. And I believe she was doing like sit down videos, and she's very good at that. She liked doing it. And I had suggested, okay, you do that very well. Now maybe we can try something else, like get ready with me for a showing or get ready with me for that. And she was like, you know what? I don't think so. I'm good at what I'm doing right here. I don't think I'm ready for that. And I respected it, and I'm sure her audience will respect it as well.
So you're a mom, you're a content creator, you're an author, you're a wife, you're all of all of this thing. I'm sure you're serving in your church as well. What is your key to keeping everything flowing and balanced? How do you keep yourself afloat? How do you avoid burnout?
Honestly, my key for doing everything is honestly my husband. Like, he when he knows that I have a passion about something, when he knows that there's a goal, when he knows that the Lord has put something inside of me, he just helps me to make it happen. Whether he's an ordained minister, so whether he has a sermon to preach, a study to teach, or a job to do, anything, he still makes the time to allow me to wear these many hats. He'll step in and be super dad so that I can go be content creator, speaker, and all the other things that I want to do. So I think having a good support system is something that busy moms need so that they can get things done.
So we're rounding up, and I want to ask the question that I always ask my guests, which is it possible for women to have it all?
You know what? I think it is possible for women to have it all, but I do not think it is possible to balance it all. When we talk about balance, it means that everything is even, nothing is nothing is leaning this way, nothing is leaning this. It means that everything is catered to at the same time to the same level. I do not think that's possible. I do think it's possible for women to have it all, to do it all. Just know that the timing of it might not happen at the same time, but it can happen in the same lifetime. It might not be balanced. You might have to juggle it a little bit, but that doesn't mean that it won't work out well.
Hey Lisa, I can't let you go before playing this game, and I would have to say Gemini AI helped me create it, but it's a edition of Would You Rather
Okay.
content creator edition. So are you ready?
Yes.
So would you rather go viral for a video you absolutely hate or consistently get moderate views on content you're passionate about?
I think consistently get moderate views.
Okay, would you rather have unlimited access to the best editing software, but only be able to create content on a topic you found boring, or have basic equipment but create any content?
Basic equipment.
Would you rather be a master of like short form content, so TikTok, shorts, reels, but struggle with long form, or be incredible at long form videos and have no success with short form?
Honestly, if I would, there's a lot of money in the long form content. I'll probably choose that. I'll probably choose,
Yeah, use the money. Go with the money.
yeah.
Would you rather accidentally delete all your raw footage for a project, or accidentally publish an unedited version of the same project on all your platforms?
Accidentally published a blooper reel.
Really?
It might go viral. It might even go viral.
I think I would delete everything. Would you rather, and last one, would you rather receive a brand deal from a company you genuinely love, but they offer significantly less money than you hoped, or receive a high paying brand deal from a company you ethically disagree with? I think I know.
You know the answer. You know the answer. Definitely the first one.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate your time. To the viewers, to the listeners, please feel free to follow Lisa. Where can they find you?
You can find me at the Lisa Richards on all my platforms.
Perfect. If they wanted to get involved with your content creator program, how did they do that?
Stan.store/the Lisa Richards. You can book a call with me. You can shoot me an email, and you can also purchase my books.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lisa. And everyone will see you next time on Busy Moms Get It Done.
Thank you.